Marvel Studios manages to pack each of its films with tons of great moments. This isn't a huge surprise, just look at the runtimes. But believe it or not, there are tons of great moments that didn't make it into the final cut of the film. Let's take a look at 5 of the best deleted scenes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and hey, while we're at it, let's look at 5 scenes that should have been deleted from the final product. Shouldn't have. Captain America catches up. In the first Avengers movie, did it feel like Steve Rogers got acclimated to the modern world just a teensy bit too quickly? In the closing scene of Captain America, the first Avenger, Captain Rogers learned he'd been frozen in ice for nearly 70 years. But when we see him, he seems right at home duking it out with a faithful old punching bag. Writer-director Joss Whedon seems to have originally accounted for this. One of Avengers' key deleted scenes focuses on Captain Rogers exploring the new world he now occupies. He watches a documentary about his life, a moment that would make its way to Winter Soldier instead. He looks up his old flame Peggy and considers giving her a call. He even runs into the waitress he ends up saving during the film's climactic New York battle. Not only that, he gets dating advice from Stan the Man Lee himself. These are great moments, but we fully understand why Whedon decided they needed to go. They slow down the film's rapid-fire pacing to a near crawl. Now that being said, it would have been nice to get a few extra minutes of Captain America getting used to his new life. Should have. Maria Hill explains it all. But not all of the first Avengers deleted scenes are as good as the one featuring Captain America. Joss Whedon's original plan was to open Avengers with the destructive aftermath left in the wake of the Battle of New York City. S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Maria Hill meets with the mysterious board Nick Fury is seen speaking with throughout the film. Agent Hill explains what happened to them, making foreboding comments about the battle. Her overall mood is negative. Essentially, this scene renders the rest of the film a flashback told from Agent Hill's perspective. And not only would Agent Hill's monologue open the film, it would end up serving as the concluding word as well. In her final scene, also deleted from the finished product, Agent Hill admits she was wrong to not trust Fury. The scenes are redundant and more than a little goofy. There's no new information conveyed in either the opening or the closing. Agent Hill doesn't offer any particular insights that we haven't already learned from watching the film unfold. Plus, she's such a minor character, it seems strange she should be lent so much importance, getting the final word on such a major event. Shouldn't have. Take a knee. Obviously, we'd be crazy not to mention this one. As everyone should be well aware by this point, at the end of Avengers Endgame, Tony Stark managed to get a hold of all the Infinity Stones. He used them to wipe Thanos and Thanos' massive army from existence once and for all. Revenge is so sweet, but the act didn't come without a terrible cost. Tony ended up sacrificing himself to save the entire universe. In this deleted scene, the remaining Avengers take a knee to honor Tony's sacrifice. Now, let's be real. Is this moment more than a little corny? Absolutely. And while it might be a little goofy that people who barely knew Tony Stark would take a knee to honor his sacrifice, it's kinda nice to see everyone united in this moment. Plus, it gives a little more information about Gamora's fate, mainly that she walks somewhere off camera. The scene was most likely cut because the funeral scene later on made it redundant. Still, it wouldn't have been awful to include it. Should have. Black Widow and Hulk love story. Avengers Age of Ultron is already packed to the brim with tons of characters, subplots, and teases for future entries in Marvel's cinematic universe. We understand Whedon's reasoning behind including this storyline. Natasha Romanoff has always been something of an outcast. Despite her finally feeling that she has a family of her own with her avenging teammates, Age of Ultron makes it clear she's still a bit of an outlier. Bruce Banner is in the same headspace. He's a literal monster, capable of causing horrific death and destruction on a massive scale. Having them fall in love isn't a bad idea in theory. In fact, we'd argue it kind of works. For the most part, this romance is jettisoned completely without any resolution. We'll applaud Mr. Whedon's attempts to try something new with these characters, but maybe their relationship should have just ended up on the cutting room floor. Shouldn't have. Sisterly love. James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the most outstanding entries in the entire MCU. We're all in agreement on that, right? I mean, come on. You've got the great characters, the colorful production design, the glorious soundtrack. How can you not love it? Sure, it has its problems, but any shortcomings are far outshined by the sheer amount of brilliance it contains. Plus, it's got Chris Pratt challenging the big baddie of the picture to a dance-off. We're willing to bet Kevin Bacon is so proud. We bring all of this up because we're hesitant to suggest changing a single frame of this wonderful movie. That being said, there's one deleted scene in particular we'd like to suggest should have stayed in the film. We're talking about the sisterly love scene. Nebula and Gamora's relationship doesn't get a whole lot of play in this first Guardians flick, but this brief exchange between them gives us a lot more insight into their relationship as sisters. It provides a bit more context into their sibling rivalry too. But most of all, we just love Zoe Saldana and Karen Gillan so much. We'll always make the argument that you should include more scenes with them interacting in every movie, and you can quote us on that. Should have. Tony Pepper proposal. Captain America Civil War wasn't just a great Captain America movie, it was a great Iron Man movie too. And it was a great Black Panther movie, a great Spider-Man movie, a great Winter Soldier movie. Okay, you get the point. Civil War revealed that Tony and Pepper were on something of a break. His life as Iron Man was causing too much stress and she couldn't deal with it anymore. Fair enough. But while this was a really interesting idea, we all knew Tony and Pepper were going to get back together. 'Twas meant to be. It's weird that Tony and Pepper's romance and subsequent marriage was reintroduced into the mix though. The scene is a bit of a throwaway gag in Spider-Man Homecoming. Pepper shows up for an obligatory cameo. Then they make the split-second decision to use the press conference as a means to announce their engagement. The moment feels a bit odd, doesn't it? It's almost as if it was shoehorned in to explain Tony and Pepper being together in Avengers Infinity War. Shouldn't have. Hawkeye Fight. Whoa, wait a second? Hawkeye was going to be in Captain America Winter Soldier? Why didn't anyone tell us about this? Seriously, someone should have brought this to our attention so we could... Oh, right. So the Russo brothers stopped in for a guest spot on the Screen Rant Underground podcast. Whatever happened to that thing anyway? During their time on the show, the Russos admitted that Hawkeye would have been in the film had it not been for those pesky scheduling conflicts we always hear so much about. As Joe Russo put it, quote, what it was going to be, we were trying to complicate the relationship between Cap and his S.H.I.E.L.D. agent friends. If Hawkeye got a call from S.H.I.E.L.D. saying Captain America is a fugitive, would he listen to that call or not listen to that call? End quote. The sequence would feature Hawkeye pursuing Cap through Washington, D.C. During the confrontation, Hawkeye would reveal he was actually on Cap's side. He also dished out important information about a tracker in Cap's suit. The exchange would conclude with Hawkeye asking Cap to punch him and make it look real, because S.H.I.E.L.D. was watching. How touching. Joe Russo went on to state that the sequence was heartbreaking to cut, and it's easy to imagine why. Should have. Dr. Selvig breakdown. Oh dear. This one's a bit, what's the word? How about awkward? Yeah, that works. Now, there are some fans that would argue that the entirety of Thor: The Dark World should have been deleted. It's not one of the MCU's finest moments, but let's hone in on this one bit in particular as one of the film's most baffling and pointless scenes. Thor: The Dark World finds Dr. Eric Selvig still suffering from the aftermath of Loki's mind control in the first Avengers film. And when we say suffering from the aftermath, we really mean running around Stonehenge completely buck naked. It's a thankfully brief moment and manages to provide a quick laugh. Hey look, it's that really smart guy and he's running around naked. Ha hilarious. Poor Stellan Skarsgård. We're going to have to suggest that this scene should have been jettisoned from the get-go. Shouldn't have. Thor and Frigga. But while you're out there demanding that Thor: The Dark World be stricken from the record, we'd like to present a moment that should have been included in the film. You could easily have traded Dr. Selvig streaking for this moment, and no one would have complained one bit. In this deleted scene, Thor's mother Frigga sneaks into Loki's prison cell to have a heart-to-heart with her conniving son, but she's merely an illusion, projecting herself from her room. Thor walks in on the conversation. He warns her that Loki is not the boy she used to know, to which she replies, "Neither are you." She also reveals that she shared her illusionary abilities with Loki so he could feel all special and stuff. What's nice about this scene is it provides another tender moment between Thor and his mother. Her compassion for Loki, despite everything he's done, makes her love for him clear. Including this moment would have also made her death scene all the more meaningful. Thankfully, we ended up getting Dr. Naked Selvig to help ease the pain. Quite the trade-off. Should have. Trevor. And finally, there's Trevor. With Iron Man 3, writer-director Shane Black pulled the rug out from under Marvel fans. he revealed that the Mandarin, one of Iron Man's most popular arch nemesis, if not the most popular, was none other than a ruse. He wasn't a big baddie, he was just a washed-up actor named Trevor. While there are some fans that found this submersive twist to be a brilliant move, other fans were less impressed. One of the greatest villains of all time had been turned into nothing more than a punchline? A gag? How could Marvel do this? There is a solid argument to be made that perhaps this scene was a little too out there. Obviously, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Marvel's deleted scenes. What are some of your personal favorites? Are there any scenes you wish Marvel Studios had cut instead of leaving in? Let us know in the comments below, and hey, why not subscribe to our channel while you're at it? Enough said.